we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Stohill, where we have a casual and informal discussion about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek. I just said that because the judge was like, the arbiter was like, this. I said we were having a casual hearing, not a raucous one.
I want to be home before supper, not senility.
That was great too. Welcome back, guys. Today we're focused on Deep Space Nine's episode DAX, a really cool episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We've got Joel back. We've got Aaron. Nice to see you. Fathery, Braxton, and Marcelo, and a slew of folks in the audience. Actually, just one folks in the audience other than Joel, but that's okay. Oh no, there's two folks. There's Geek Filter. Oh, that's you.
Oh my god.
I was
It's our clones. It's our holographic
your
clones.
It's your spoilers. Hollow duplicates.
Like
that's it.
Rios
I'm not gonna say anything.
and the Doctor.
Yeah, there you go. So, how is everyone today? Hopefully doing good. Yeah.
Good.
Excellent. Super hot, but I'm making it.
I know. I feel sorry for you folks up in the north where you don't have air conditioning necessarily, or a different, use of air conditioning. I saw this funny thing on TikTok. This guy who's British, he was talking about the heat waves in the UK, and then he was like, "Oh, I found out from my American friends that what we consider a heat wave is like how you guys set your temperature on your
Inside
AC
your
cool
house.
in your house." Like
I wrote that on one of the, like, somebody had posted, like, I'm gonna die, I'll die on this hill, but like British heat is worse than any other heat in the world. Like, you don't travel, do you? Like, so, I think it's so much for the idea that Europeans are more well traveled.
Yeah, exactly. So 75 degrees is considered a heat wave in the UK, and it's true. That's what we have our house temperature set to.
They have gotten like 90s and stuff like in the last couple of years, so they have gotten actually pretty high temperatures for them. I actually looked at my watch to figure out what the temperature was, and it just gave me an emergency triangle with an exclamation mark on it. I'm like, look, that's not good. It's only 85 right now, but it'll be like 102 today.
Oh man, I couldn't deal with that. We have 90 degrees today here in South Florida, so it feels like 100 probably, but
it's like humidity would.
So let's get to this episode. It's our first courtroom episode of Deep Space Nine, which is cool. And after I do the summary, or unless one of you guys would like to do the summary, I'm always happy for one of you guys to do the summary. But after the summary, I'm going to read a little passage that our friend Robbie from Movie Magic sent to read. He wanted to be on the discussion, but he couldn't be. So maybe I should read that as it's kind of appropriate. I think I'll read this as the summary. So here we go. When you actually think about it, going all the way back to the menagerie, the courtroom drama came about because of a shortage of scripts. And look what episode that has given us through TOS, TNG, DS9, and Strange New World. It's a trope that I'm always happy to come back to in Trek. And I think this episode was another solid courtroom drama. Courtroom drama episodes are kind of special in the franchise when you think about it. There's no other sci-fi franchise that does this. He hasn't seen BSG.
No. Clearly not.
I can't imagine, like, there's got to be other ones that do it too. Like,
there's probably other ones. I don't think there was one in The Expanse. I can't remember if there was a
Stargate did. That's for sure.
Stargate did it. Okay. Yeah. He hasn't seen Stargate either. So
he's young.
He's young. He has time. Solid courtroom introspection for 45 minutes is a staple of Trek. Through TOS, TNG, and DS9, it's a trope that I'm always happy to come back to, and I think this episode was another solid courtroom drama. A lot of sci-fi is propelled by poor character choices and sizzling action, but this kind of drama offers far more substance in a refreshing way. It's a beautiful bottle episode for the show. I think it's not actually a bottle episode, Robbie, because Odo does leave. Yeah. Oh yeah, we were talking about that offline. That's right.
Yeah, Odo becomes a sleuth. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to critique your opening statement that you sent over, Robbie. Robbie's watching this like.
Suddenly, all the boxes just push over, and he's there. Like...
But anyways, I think Dax is one of the stronger episodes of season 1. It's clearly trying to emulate The Measure of a Man, but I think it still works. The episode isn't a carbon copy, and Dax is a great character for this kind of thing. Program episodes have given us some of the best episodes of Trek because it really highlights that sense of community in Star Trek, and it allows us to see DS9 characters argue for Dax, which is always beautiful in Trek. That underlying friendship and morality is key to episodes like this. I don't think the episode is a masterpiece. It's not quite as strong as The Measure of a Man, but it's another sign of the show's potential until it really kicks into gear with Duet and Tears of the Prophets. All right, that was nice. Thank you, Robbie. So yeah, what did you guys think of this episode? Let's start with you, Marcelo, and then we'll go to Braxton, Fathery, Aaron, and end with Joel.
I really like this episode for one solitary reason, because it focuses on my favorite character in all of Deep Space Nine, and I think it's really cool to see her at the forefront and to have a courtroom drama of which I'm particularly fond of in Star Trek. I just thought it was really cool, and I like how Dax stayed by her guns and didn't defend herself. I like how she fell on her royal sword to protect what happened between the Trill and another individual in this episode, because I think that shows a giant sense of honor, and that says I'm not going to give someone else up to save myself. I like that sense of honor and that sense of loyalty from someone. Anyway, I'm big on loyalty, so that's why that was most important to me. So this episode was a whole lot of fun for those aspects.
Excellent. Braxton, and sorry guys, I think I'm breaking up. My internet's weird, so you guys will have to probably take over at some point if something happens.
It was a temporary issue. It sounds like it went away. So
it went away. Okay, cool.
Now, but for a second,
you're kind of siloning a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
I found that I smiled a lot this episode. I feel like this episode was just like very affirming to Jadzia, and so like that made me feel really good. I was totally creeped out in the beginning when Julie was like, "Oh yeah, like can I walk you home?" And she was like, "Oh, like no." And then he's like, "Okay, well, like I'm gonna like follow you home anyway." Well, and it's a good thing that he ended up following her home. Being a creep. But yeah, just like my overall thought. So I think that this was a really good Jadzia development episode. It really developed the character, and it made me feel really good.
That's
like
great.
I loved like hearing people like talk about the character of not only Jadzia but also Curzon before. It was a really interesting examination. Like it was of like, like okay, well, like is she a new person? Is she the same person? Like maybe it's a bit of both. But yeah, this episode made me feel super good, and I loved it.
Excellent. Fathery.
I like this episode. I like Dax. I like the character Dax. It is a little awkward, and this being a season 1 episode that really focuses on a character they didn't quite figure out until season 2. So watching it, I do kind of regret, like, I kind of wish that they waited till season 2 to tell this story, because I think they would have, like, made a few different choices with how they characterized Jadzia. But the main thing that I take away from watching it is, this is Dorothy Fontana's Deep Space Nine credit. And I am a big fan of her work, of course, from the original series and the animated series. But Dorothy also said on the record she considered Deep Space Nine the best Star Trek spinoff. So I always like having that on the record, and always like think about her when I revisit this episode. But yes, I think this might be like the first season 1 episode since Emissary where they do get some new sets. They spent so much money on that pilot that they were relying on a lot of bottle episodes. But Odo, get like the Detective Odo thing going on. Doing the courtroom like on the station, like in Quark's bar. Utilizing the big set that they blew all their money on in the pilot. So, it's a very season 1-y episode, so it's like kind of rough to revisit. I want it to be like Deep Space Nine, like in its prime, and like everything's normal and Odo looks correct, and like they know how to write Jadzia. But it's I guess a solid Deep Space Nine is still going to entertain me more than like a really great episode of most other TV shows. So I still have a good time watching it.
It's cool to hear that Dorothy Fontana thought Deep Space Nine was the best spin-off of Star Trek. I didn't know that.
Oh wow!
After TAS, no, just kidding.
After the animated series, of course.
Well, she would have said the animated series is like the fourth gear of TOS.
Yeah.
Of TOS,
That's true.
yeah.
She did say that.
Aaron, what'd you think?
I was going to mention the whole Dorothy thing as well. She, since she built basically the Vulcans, it was interesting that she was doing a lot of world building for the Trill as well, even if it isn't all kind of like worked out or carried across. I watched this episode quite a bit when I was researching my character, who was a Trill for our improv show. So for me, it's sort of like going back and like, oh, I'm like remembering how I was building a character. But no, one thing I really loved is we get a little bit of scary, happy Kira Nerys. It's like that makes us very annoyed. just like oh, it just kind of cements that she knows what she's doing. In fact, that Cisco, says no, you're talking to my first officer now. So like I like that play. We got a lot of little interactions that I think built up to something really good. But yeah, and being I agree with Fathery though. It's like they kind of got this episode a little too early in the series. We're now in like it's a classic Star Trek trial. It's not a trial now, courtroom drama, but it became really early.
Yeah, I never thought about that either, but it probably would have been a much even more compelling episode in like season 2 or later. It's interesting.
And they change how they write Jadzia, and Terry Farrell changes the way she plays her a lot. But I think here they're kind of thinking like, oh, she was like this wild old man as Curzon, and now she's like this very like calm, collective, like sage. She has all of like this wisdom though. And then like later, when you get to like season 2 and on, they're like, oh no, she still has a bit of like that wild man personality in her. And I think they would have done things a little differently had this been a season 2 episode.
Yeah. Well, and Jadzia was kind of being played also as like she's a little bit more less personality. It's like she's like kind of sits back and lets the DAX.
She's very stoic.
That's what she's. Yeah.
She's so stoic in season 1, and she lights up a lot more in season 2 onward.
Yep.
Joel.
Yeah, I like this one quite a bit too, and yeah, like Aaron said, you can definitely see Fontana's world building. She's really good at that, and that stuff's really good. Though, yeah, there is sort of Jadzia gets kind of left behind in some of it, because I think she could have not given up her lover in the general, and tried not to die a little harder.
Yeah, she's
just
like,
she's like,
oh well, I'm gonna die,
they can be exposed. Guess it's time to die. and I mean, we do get so much great stuff from Brooks trying to, like save his friend. That there's a lot of great stuff. And then the guest stars in this episode are just amazing. We get Haney and Flanagan and the Gregory Itzin who plays Tandro's son, who all have multiple Trek roles. 2 of them are Vulcans in Enterprise too, but
yeah, these characters played a lot of other characters.
Yeah. Flanagan plays that wonderful Vulcan in Enterprise.
Yes,
who's so great. Whose name I don't remember right now, but
something probably.
Yeah, there's an apostrophe there.
Yeah,
but other than Bashir continuing his sex pestiness. and Jadzia maybe just checking out a little too early. It's all great.
Something that I thought was interesting that gave it more weight was the stuff that Jadzia and the wife were talking about at the end. That the dude had like actually betrayed his people and he was killed, but he was remembered differently. So I always thought it was weird. I mean, I always thought. I mean, for the episode, I was thinking that it was weird that Jadzia was, willing to die for just the affair with this woman, but it was much larger than that. She was trying to protect like the legacy of this man that meant so much to like all these people. So I thought that was so way like at the end.
What a horrible dude this general general what was his name, I forget the character. Tandro, thank you.
Yeah.
Was like how are they even best friends, or like at least seen as best friends?
That's like that realism, or that like that pragmatism, that kind of like real world thing, and like probably a lot of these historical figures that we hold up in reverence and build statues of and stuff. A lot of them, probably were bastards behind the scenes.
That's a really good point.
Well, I thought of Gene Roddenberry actually when we were.
Yeah. There's a lot of Gene.
Not that he was, he's not going to like give up his people or whatever, but just that whole idea that he's not this perfect thing that all these fans put him on the pedestal to be, or a lot of fans do.
But from like Dorothy's perspective, like who better to tell? I never connected those dots, but she'd be the one with the insight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure she had good. Like some interesting interactions with him.
Or like the voice of the cranky old arbiter, I'm sure that and the other writer, Peter Allen Field, was no spring chicken either. So
yeah.
I'm sure he's probably passed away by this point also, but I liked the sassy arbiter, the cranky old lady.
And Anne Haney, she's really fantastic. She's so good in this.
She is. She's like, I'm 100. Like, I don't have any time for this. Like, we're gonna be like out of here by like supper.
And she was in
not senility.
She was also in The Survivors, right? The TNG. Okay, because I get those. There's The Survivor singular is TAS, The Survivors plural is TNG, and then that which survives is the TOS one. I get the three of those are easy to confuse.
But there's only one DAX, just plain.
Only one DAX.
Yeah, this is the only episode that's ever had just the one name of the first name of the main characters and all of the episode titles.
Yeah, that would be weird if it was just like Data or McCoy. That'd be
we
like
have Data's
weird...
Day, but not Data. Yeah.
They started
Data
Spock
lore.
1, Spock 47. Yeah.
There is a Tuvix, but he was just a guest
Tuvix.
star.
That's true.
But
he's not a main character.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also Melora in DS9, but yeah, she was just like a one episode person.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like what is it? Mrs. Uxbridge did not die. She just left and became an arbiter on Bajor.
We were saying
that entire race didn't have to die.
Yeah, the Hushnok died for nothing.
She just did that to like escape her marriage. She just like, hey, let's all just like fake our deaths and just leave this dumb asshole on the planet all by himself. And then he thought it was real and exterminated that whole race of aliens. That's dark.
Well, either that or no one died and he thinks they did. It's just all in his head that he's this all-powerful being.
Oh yeah,
shout out
to
Rachel.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rachel in the audience. There's Sarek in TNG, but he wasn't a main character either, so it's not the same as the DAX. But yeah, there was Sarek also in TNG. That's pretty funny. What did you guys think of the whole someone in the audience said they really didn't want you to like Julian in the first season, but his creepiness did actually end up saving.
That doesn't excuse
I was
it.
angry about that when I first saw it. It's like, don't let the sleaziness get paid off as something good.
Right.
Like, come on.
If I don't follow you to your door every night, you might be kidnapped.
Yeah. And that actually plays up on that trope of like women can't, like what happens if they walk out the door immediately, they're going to be, kidnapped or whatever. So yeah.
So I do like how he gets his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
I like how exciting the plot, kicks off into some action and a little bit of melodrama, right off the beginning. It would have been easy to be like, oh yeah, someone just shows up at the station with a warrant for Dax.
Yeah, this is more interesting.
Well, yeah, the
it reminded me of the
was...
Albatross where they had the warrant for McCoy.
Oh right.
Yeah.
The action sequence was great, like the whole kidnapping sequence, and then not sure they were gonna be able to tractor beam the ship on time, and when it finally does,
tractor beam
all the
reaches really far. It seems like.
Yeah, it does.
Station one, not just a ship one.
Yeah,
it's true. Oh, that probably makes a difference, but
well,
I love that.
They grabbed the ship in Lower Decks, the one that was almost at the mouth of the wormhole, and they pulled it back.
Oh yeah,
Cardassian tractor beams. You don't want your Bajoran workers escaping, so you got to have some strong tractor beams.
Attention, escaping ship.
Get your asses back to work.
Did you notice the kidnappers had these weird gloves with the kind of whatever it looked like little pieces or whatever, but then they had matching fanny packs
and boots, they had something on their legs or boots that were
or something like that.
Man, that dude's mom embarrasses the shit out of him in front of everyone.
Oh yeah,
he's like, man, this is my, what did Alex Jones call it? His Perry Mason moment. He was like, this is gonna be my Perry Mason moment. This is gonna be so epic. I'm about to secure my dad's legacy, and then his mom comes in and is like, oh, by the way, I was totally banging that dude. And I'm like, this massive affair on your dad, the beloved war hero.
Sorry you found out this way. Not sorry. I feel like he's the kind of, she just sort of rolls his eyes at him every time he overinflates the father and just keeps it it's like she doesn't want to say anything, but at the same time, just knows that it's you're going off and creating more of the legend than there really needs to be.
Kudos to Fionnuala Flanagan, who plays the general's wife. She's fantastic, and she played one of my favorite characters, Juliana Taymor, Data's mom, on TNG. Quite a different.
And that hasn't happened yet. Which that's later. That happens later. After.
Oh wow! Okay, so that's cool. So she appeared here first.
And then she comes back in November for that team.
I'm going through both shows in release order, and Taylor and I we've just watched DAX a couple of days ago, but we haven't gotten to that one yet.
Oh, cool!
I like the guy who played Tandro also played Dysix in the Critical Care episode, which I really like from Voyager, where it's basically talks about our horrible healthcare system.
Oh yeah, it's a good episode. And it's so sad that 25 years later, that episode is just as relevant now as it was.
Maybe more so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's depressing.
Yeah. I'll have to go watch it again.
This episode really makes me, hanker for, what? I really think a Star Trek legal show could work, and I could write it. Damn it! I want one.
Oh, what would it be like?
CSI Space.
Like Jack. So you'd have your central group of characters that would all be lawyers for Starfleet, and every week they would be investigating a different incident in the Federation.
It could be like Suits and Jag combined.
Yeah, Suits and Jag. Do that.
This is an
Father, you're about to.
Sorry. That's the premise of Law and Order.
Oh, they could call the show The Bell. That'd be awesome.
Oh,
what Century City, Aaron?
It was set in the 21st century. It was like a future law. So that was they talked about cloning and all sorts of other things that brought those up. So it's I could see that being kind of a similar framework of what future things are we going to have to deal with.
And Father, it looks like you and I were both going to highlight or talk about Joel's comment. You want to finish what you're going to say?
I just thought that's a good point that Dax is protecting the reputation of all Trill symbionts. I never thought of that, but it's kind of, I have to represent this entire community.
Jadzia probably cares more about that than Curzon did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think at this point we don't know that it's such a limited population of people who become Trills, right?
Yeah, that hasn't been revealed yet.
So
we do find out some interesting things in this episode, that apparently the average is 7 hosts that a Trill.
Was that the average? That was
Symbiont.
that one
But
guy.
DAX goes through them quick. Like if you're a DAX host, you don't live very long. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on in the 23rd century, but DAX was just like turnaround host, just like that.
Dang.
She got some, random a bad one, and then
A test pilot kills himself in a few years, and then like a gymnast who somehow like didn't last very long. And
That's true. This makes this one a little weirder when you find out about the other hosts. Curzon's not a murderer. No, but
yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that there was that other,
the secret host.
the secret host. That's right.
Then like Doctor Who copied that and was like, we're gonna have like a secret doctor.
Secret doctor.
Exactly. Totally what I was
Or
thinking just
Dax.
as you said that.
Ulysses the Pagan says Dax did the same thing, though in the episode Rejoin, breaking Trill symbiote policy. I don't remember that episode.
Me either.
Well, it's exciting that we'll get to see it again. Might watch it this weekend. The other thing was that apparently after what was it, like 72 hours or something like that, that's it. Once like that time period has passed, you can't undo the joining, unless the host dies, which was interesting.
Which is probably why they wanted to say that, so you couldn't just take the Dax symbiote out and like punish it
and punish it, right? Which was
goes to a
interesting
little
also.
jail cave pond or something. I guess they were gonna kill him, so that was executed.
Rejoined was the whole lesbian kiss.
Yeah,
Or,
that's what
That's
I thought
right.
it was.
Okay.
Did Dr. Bashir say that they would live 93 hours, like if they were separated? Is that what he said?
Yeah, it's not. It's a very short time, because we see that happen in season
later.
2 in Invasive Procedures when John Glover, Lex Luthor's
Oh,
dad
yeah.
from Smallville, comes to take the Dax symbiont.
Or he's Clamp from Gremlins 2, one of my favorite roles of it.
Yeah, and that has Bob Picardo in it too. I have not seen
Yeah, it
Gremlins
does.
2 since the 90s, but I rewatch Gremlins 1 like every other year around Christmas
Yeah.
time. I need to watch Gremlins 2 again.
I love them both, but I have to say that 2 is more my favorite just because how campy
Really?
and
yeah,
like
2 is off the rails.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it does not feel like a sequel of the first one. Like there's,
Yeah, I remember
it's
it
such
being
They made a
literally
live
at
action cartoon.
Looney Tunes. Yeah, I was gonna say it was like Looney Tunes. But I was like literally
purpose,
turned
yeah.
There's
into
a whole
some
story about
Bugs
the director
Bunny
and why
type
it was
stuff.
like that, and it's
okay.
interesting.
Dante,
that
right?
is interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Dante, right? Yeah.
No,
That
it
is
was not the same direct. I think that it was a different
The
director.
different one for
second
2?
one,
I can't remember. It's been a
I
while.
think.
I think it has to be. Yeah.
Wasn't there a gremlin wearing like a red sequin dress in like
Yes.
the second movie?
There's
Yes.
there's a gremlin and drag in the first one too, though, in the bar.
It's
Chuck
both-
Jones and Joe Dante were both of them were directors.
Yeah,
Chuck
and that's
Jones, like
wild
the-
to me.
Okay.
Chuck Jones, yeah, like the
Is
animator.
that Chuck Jones? Okay, wow.
I
Okay,
think
yeah, it
so.
is.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense now. Okay.
OG.
Yeah,
That's
that
really what I
explains it.
remember about those movies. Is like the gremlins in that hot dress.
By the way, Chuck Jones is in Gremlins 1 apparently, playing Mr. Jones. I didn't remember that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They must have been friends or something.
So wild, yeah.
Joe Dante and
Joe Dante and Chuck Jones should do an episode of Star Trek. It would be amazing. What were we talking about? Oh, the Trill. So yeah, we get the lifespan. How does that relate to like? So I guess Gray dies, and then the symbiote has like 90 something hours to
The
transfer. into
symbiote
a
will
new-
live, but
Right. Okay. So okay.
it's just if the former host who's bonded only has 93 hours. for
Oh,
it
I
to go
see,
back,
I
which
see.
we see later
Mm.
with Dax.
And we also
Hmm.
saw that, I guess, in TNG, right? The Trill episode. Wasn't there something to do with
Yeah,
Like,
the
reason-
temporary hosts.
Yeah,
that-
like
Those
Riker
rules-
had to carry
Oh, yeah.
Riker had
rules
to
are-
carry the host, yeah.
Those rules work very differently. Whereas, like with that Trill, Riker had no personality. On the symbiote was just like 100% itself.
Yeah.
With Deep Space Nine rules, the symbiote changes with each. It is more. I compare it a lot to Doctor Who. It is more like that, where like
Yeah,
it's always the same person, but each one is unique.
The
Right.
TNG symbiote was from the north of Trill, so that's why it's different.
yeah, we'll go with
And
that.
it also kind of tweaked a little bit when we get the 32nd century stuff because it was inside of a human for a very long time, which supposedly wasn't.
Yeah.
I guess maybe
I
it's
love-
centuries of like genetic, smoothing or whatever. I don't know.
Braxton, you were gonna say?
I loved hearing about Jadzia's accomplishments before
Oh yeah, that was a
she
good
got the
scene.
symbiote. Like I smiled so big, I was like, "Ooh, like damn, girl, look at you!
A
Like all
lot.
the like degrees, you know."
That was a
I
great
wish-
scene. Cisco's defense was really well done. It was actually such a great thing. Like he would keep bringing all these like great points, and then Jadzia was just like stone cold, like not, not care. Like when he sat down in that one after that one moment when he like makes some good point or whatever, and he sits down, he looks at her and he smiles, and she's just like staring, like totally.
Yeah,
like,
and then his
I don't
smile
care.
kind of drops a little bit. It's out of focus, but yeah.
yeah.
We also get a
I don't
great
care.
speech from Cisco to encourage people to do great research, which is amazing.
Yeah.
That never happens.
I do like
And like
how
if you find something that doesn't agree with your hypothesis,
It's wrong.
like, bring it to me. But like they didn't like completely, say just ignore it or whatever. At least that was good.
He saves it when he says, even if it isn't the right answer,
Yeah.
show it to me so that I know what we're up against.
Yeah.
Which was good. Too. What were you gonna say, Father?
Well, that is how like law works. Like people
Yeah.
will just like people will argue whatever like they want to match their ideology and just hope that they're more convincing than the opposition.
Yeah. I liked it in her quarters when they were having that conversation too. It was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Also in her quarters is the idol from Indiana Jones, the fertility idol,
Oh yeah, I forgot
on a shelf
yeah,
in the
that's
background.
right. That's totally
Yeah.
true.
The
Ulysses
Horgon
in the
and-
audience. There's a Horgon there too.
No, I was just saying it's like a Horgon.
Ulysses says, I always wondered why some fans make such a big deal from the different looks between the Trill from TNG to DS9 when it could just be different races that are related. I totally agree with that, and it's also kind of like the same thing that like, with like how Discovery was changing up the designs. You could just explain it the same way, where it's a different part of the planet, or with the
Prodigy
Klingons,
has
like,
Aurelians that are wings or don't have wings, so it's like
yeah,
this,
that's cool.
It's spiky
That is a big
skulls.
change.
So yeah, we just all have to calm down. I get it. You're attached to that design, so it probably like makes you. But I don't know who would be I don't know who would be attached to the TNG Trill design.
Yeah, they improved it. It was a big improvement.
They definitely
The,
improved
the
it.
spots
yeah.
are very iconic. I know multiple women who have the Trill spot tattoos. At least
Multiple.
one all the way
Ah.
multiple. At least
I
one
met
all the
someone
way
at
down
STLV,
from
yeah.
head to head
Very
to toe.
interesting.
And you know this? No.
Because
Yeah.
Somebody
don't have-
somebody
We
elbowed
don't-
me at the bar and said, "Hey, her spots are tattooed on." So
Oh wow. I would, if I ever got tattoos, I would get Trill tattoos. That's actually a good idea.
well, if you
But
don't go to
part-
I brought
STLV,
mine
it's
out
you
to a
have
bar
to,
and
so.
totally forgot that I had them on. And it was like, that looks really good. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, then I went to the bathroom. I was like, oh crap, I forgot these are still on.
That is funny. But yeah, Trill tattoo sounds like a good idea. Jill says, so Jadzia was the science nerd, but Esri didn't keep those skills, did she? So how does that reflect on how Disco used Adira's past host
They
skills on the
suck.
show?
Doesn't
No.
seem to very much. That's part of the
No,
problem. with
the
this
way
She
that-
wasn't
the-
prepared to be a
the way
host,
that,
though, so.
the way that Disco used, I forgot her name now, was really bad. They could have done a whole lot better with her, and they did nothing with that with that
You're
actress.
talking about Adira's
Yes,
character?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they could have handled her character way
They.
better.
Their
I'm
character,
sorry.
yeah.
Their character.
And there was
way
plenty of
better.
times that they could have actually been given science stuff that just got
Yep.
fawned off onto somebody else, and they were right in the room with them. So it's like,
They did it a little bit early on when it was like, oh, I play the cello now, and then they got to a point where like they just kind of dropped that.
Nothing.
Whereas with
Yeah.
Esri,
we only
I
have
guess
4 minutes of character development for each character. You like just narrow it down.
Esri, who also wasn't prepared to become a host, and
Yeah.
I guess with Esri's thing was she was like experiencing, I guess, like parts of past personalities like she's not prepared for, like She famously couldn't remember what pronouns she was using at one point, or she would say, you know, like I wake up in the morning and I don't know like which one of my hosts I am till I look in the mirror and stuff like that. So yeah,
Her
they
family didn't help.
and then, and with Adira they just I guess like they didn't do that, but they didn't do anything else in its place either. They just kind of dropped it.
Yeah, they dropped the ball.
But not the arbiter ball.
No, no.
That was a cool gavel. I like the design of the gavel.
too.
Yeah.
Rick Sternbach designed that.
Oh, very cool.
Which is interesting because what is it? It was probably roughly around the same time of production as Star Trek 6. Because didn't they also have like the Klingons had a?
They did. The Klingons did have a round gavel like that.
Which
They
that would have
he designed both of them.
That would have come out about a little over a year before this aired, I guess.
Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, Memory Alpha also said that this was the first time we hear of Raktajino.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. It is because when I was watching it with Taylor, it was the first time we heard it mentioned.
Yeah, that's why they say the Klingon coffee.
Coffee. Yeah.
So.
Are you gonna do a
Getting it
Taylor
all.
video for this episode? By the way.
I don't know. We will do something about Deep Space Nine at some point. We're a little behind. We're posting about the TOS movies.
What was Taylor's impression of this episode?
From
what you can remember, give us a little preview.
She liked it. She likes Deep Space Nine the most right now. But I tell her like this is the worst season of Deep Space Nine. But she's like, well, I like it. I like it more than TNG and TOS. So, but she's liked all of them. She's I don't know. She likes Bashir a lot. Which kind of surprised me because a lot of people like complain about early Julian.
Later Julian, yeah. But
She likes
one-
Bashir, huh?
Later, Julian's in love with O'Brien. So.
Oh, it's that Starfleet medical exam talk.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Gets all the chicks.
Well, in the next episode has a cold open that's very cringy too. With Julian, or a teaser.
It's like a
Next,
checklist.
because it's the
Julian.
passenger, right? It's him and Kira in the runabout.
Right.
That's so funny though. I love that opening. It's hilarious.
It really is.
This is the only time we hear a trillion government as well. I think that's isn't brought up
trillion.
again.
Yeah.
First and last time.
They just will be referred to as Trill from now on.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's their Vulcanian moment, right?
Yeah. That is the Vulcanian moment.
Every species, they gotta work it out, see how it sounds.
The Humanians.
I just headcanon if you're a resident of planet Vulcan, that's what Vulcanian means.
yeah,
Oh.
you're like a human.
Because you would have to
Terran.
have some word for that, for like Vulcan resident, or maybe just Vulcan
Right.
resident. But
That's like we're Miamians or Miamians or something
Miamians.
like, what if you're a human who lives on Bajor? You're not a Bajoran. What would you call yourself though?
a Bajoranian.
Expat on Bajor.
Bajorite? Like I don't like.
A geranium. No.
A Geranian.
Geranium.
Let's all just get called expats here in Earth, right?
Yeah. It's the 24th century. They're just people. No.
Klingots. You can be a Klingot if you're a Klingon.
I like
expat.
Klingon. When I was a kid, I would always say Klingonese because that's what they say in The Trouble with Tribbles. And it would always make me mad when I would hear people say like speak Klingon. I'd be like, no, the language should be called Klingonese, like they said in The Trouble with Tribbles. But I gave up on that fight like a long time ago. But like Trekker and Trekkie. I gave up on that one.
Which one do
Years
you guys
ago.
personally
What do you
identify as? Yeah,
I mean,
what do you guys-
the real ones, like still remember, like back in the day, like
Oh, yeah.
you knew you were like hardcore if you called yourself Trekker, and that Trekkie was like
Yeah.
the pretender.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
But I feel like
Or
the
the,
Trekkies, the Trekkies took over, and so people just forgot.
I'm
the
a Trekkie. I
Trekkers.
took over.
Trekkie was pejorative, essentially.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always liked Trekkie. I don't know why. That's
I
weird.
felt like
I always
Trekkie-
liked Trekkie too. I got what they were saying.
say
The
Star Trek
word
fan.
was just better.
Trekkie was the term. Trekkie was the term that like the normies used, and like Trekker was like the term that like the fans used
The
themselves.
people
What
who
it-
really know things. Yeah.
That's how. At least from my perspective, that's how I felt it was. But like I gave up on that. Like that ship has gone to warp very
Yeah,
long
it
ago
has.
too.
Like Jill said, that Trekker is pretentious. So you've got like
Yeah,
cringy
I'm
or
sure, yeah.
pretentious or like,
Well, actually, Trekker. La, 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 la,
Yeah.
the Willaxians.
That will actually.
Oh.
You know, whatever. You can be a Trekkie, a Trekker, a Discoverer, a Niner. There's like all
Oh my
kinds of
God.
ways now. You can kind of like let folks know you're a Trek fan and
A
what
Voyager.
specific a Voyager.
Animated series would be weird. It's like,
Tasser?
It's
Yeah,
better
yeah.
than the original series
Yeah,
they called
yeah.
Tossers.
Yeah.
Goddamn tossers! Just get out of my
Bloody
bar.
tossers.
Get out.
Ulysses says Klingon word for Klingon is I can't even pronounce that. How that's pronounced? No clue. Klingon. Thingon. Do they have like a theta like the Spanish? Like it's like,
Yeah.
like it's Klingon.
I don't. It's a very difficult language to learn because
I read the entire Klingon dictionary when it came out when I was like in 6th grade, but yeah, I retained nothing.
I retain nothing.
The one it has like the 3 Klingons from Star Trek 3 on the cover when they're like
Yep, that
when
one.
they're watching the Genesis footage.
Mark Cochran. Yep.
Yeah, I had that book too. I think I still got it upstairs.
So, going back to the show real quick, is Curzon, was he in Starfleet? No, he wasn't, right?
No, he was. I guess he was
He
like part of like the
worked for
diplomatic
Starfleet?
corps.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was just trying to figure out, like, how
He
did
was
he
a
get involved
diplomat.
with this weird...
They say he was in this episode, kind of. They're
Well, Cisco
sort of-
just says he took this young man, taught him about art. I like that, by the way, that whole sequence
Yeah.
there.
I think it was the
where-
witness stand where someone said.
It's-
I think it's.
I
that
think it's
other-
implied like he had given him advice on like you're letting like personal feelings affect a command decision or like something like that, which that sounds very Starfleet.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, like, how they got involved with whatever this war is, or
But he-
on the fronts and stuff
Curzon was a diplomat. He like shortly after he got joined, he went into big league diplomacy because he was involved with the Klingon peace talks in the 2290s, and he still would have been like pretty young.
like
So
that.
he was
The Khitomer Accords?
yeah.
Oh, does that mean Curzon would be the symbiont that's around during the
Post
Section
Star
31?
Trek 6.
Yeah.
Possibly, and
No.
I mean the host. Sorry.
Or yeah, no, it would have to be. Yeah, it would because he's that entire Lost era is all Curzon all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
we
so-
should change. It should no longer be the Lost era. It should be the Curzon era.
Yeah. From
like
for
that.
real, like from Trek 6 to TNG, that was like
That's
Curzon
Curzon, yeah.
raising hell.
Trek 6 to Risa.
Wow.
It's all Curzon.
That was 7 decades of Curzon going wild.
Who would you guys cast as a young Curzon? Like in the time
a
period
young
of
one.
Star Trek
Oh.
6? Yeah, like in
Myself.
that.
Fathery. That's right.
You can pull it off, Father. I bet.
And he can
But-
hire us as his on-set assistants, and we'll be set.
Since we've got all these illustrious castings in Star Trek, like
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti and Holly Hunter, who could we get as Curzon? That would be
Tom Hanks. No.
Tom Hanks. He's been dying to get into Star Trek, by the way. He's like a
That's true.
yeah. So, audience, any ideas who you would cast as Curzon? I'm trying to think myself. Liev Schreiber might be a good one.
I think Robert Downey Jr. would do something interesting.
Oh my gosh, he would do an amazing job. It's true.
He could
Bradley
do it.
Cooper.
Bradley
He could do it too.
Cooper.
Bradley's good.
I would love to see a short trek with Curzon and young Cisco palling
would be-
around.
I
on
would like
some
young-
boat.
I would like to see them meet. I would like to see like if what if like Cisco is like kind of. I think he'd be like kind of like Nog like in his youth. I think he'd
In
be
his
like
youth.
yeah, he'd be kind of like the stuffy like wants to be the like the best in his class, wants to be the cream of the crop.
Would it be awkward to get Sirach Lofton to play
Cisco?
Benjamin Cisco?
I think
as a young man?
he's too old to be
He's too
young
old to be young
Cisco,
Cisco.
yeah, he's like as old as Cisco was during Deep Space Nine now.
That's crazy to me. That's insane.
Or I think
That's
he's older.
nuts.
We're old.
Wow. I know
I
We're
remember when
old.
this episode came out, kids.
Because it would have been 31. If he was 15 when it started, and that was 31 years ago, he's 45. So he's older than I think Avery Brooks would have been.
Brooks was. Dang, that's like something to think about.
I would go Joshua Jackson for a young Curzon.
Joshua
Jackson.
Oh yeah. I
Let
can
me
see that.
see. Oh yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, he's
Dawson's
got a
Creek and
yeah,
Fringe.
He's got a
Yeah.
thing to him.
Now I want Curzon in Section 31. I'm gonna be mad if that doesn't happen.
That would be really cool, or at least a reference, like a name drop or something.
They
but
could
actually
do some
more
really
than that.
neat stuff. They could do some really neat stuff in that Lost era. There's all kinds of cool stuff happening
You
there.
never know.
There's a young actor who was in that Pokemon, that Captain Pikachu movie, who I could see him playing like a young cadet Cisco.
Or maybe Pikachu should play.
Yeah, if you're gonna go with like
Got
cadet,
range.
if you're gonna go with cadet, like I want it to be like an actor I've never heard of, because I feel like anyone like that young is probably gonna be someone like hasn't been anything I know of yet.
Ooh, the guy who played Michael Burnham's son. He would be fun.
Oh
He's
yeah, he's
good.
very handsome.
From what we saw.
What about that dude from the holdovers, whatever his name is? The actor
Paul
who played
Giamatti?
No, the guy who played the student that Paul Giamatti was looking after in the holdovers. That dude for a young
I haven't
Curzon
seen that
would
one.
be cool.
Yes,
What's his
Rachel.
name?
The name of the guy's Justice Smith. That's the actor, I think.
Thank
Might
you.
make
Justice
a good.
Smith. Thank
He
you.
might make a good Cisco cadet. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, no, well, I know I was thinking for Curzon. I wasn't thinking for Cisco. I was thinking
What was
for,
the name of the movie for Curzon?
It was the name of the movie that he's in is Holdovers. The Holdovers with.
The Holdovers.
Yeah, it's a really good Christmas movie.
Let me see if I can figure out what the name of the actor is. Is it Dominic
Yeah.
Sessa?
Yeah, Dominic Sessa. That's who I.
Let me
that's what
take
I'm
a look
thinking.
at it.
Oh, that
Oh, yeah,
Justice Smith dude was in House of the Dragons. He was
Oh.
Oh, he was?
yeah.
Should we do it? Should we try saying the abbreviation and see if we summon people again? I don't know.
I summon.
Anyways, that's my oh, and especially in Dungeons and Dragons. He's in Dungeons and Dragons. That's right, with Chris Pine. So he's already
Who
in a
is?
Star Trek related. Yeah, isn't Chris
1 degree
Pine?
away.
Yeah.
Dungeons and
Yeah, he was
Dragons is Star
Who
Trek
was in Dungeons and
adjacent.
Dragons?
Chris Pine's in it. He's really good. And
No, I
Justice
know,
Smith.
but there's
Justice
is
Smith.
he? Okay.
But he was in the Pikachu movie.
He was
Yeah,
in the Captain
He's got a
Pikachu
boyfriend.
movie.
Justice Smith.
Did you say he's got a boyfriend?
Yep.
Oh, cool. That's okay because when you
He's
don't
not
have a
the son
boyfriend,
of Will Smith.
yeah.
But he doesn't have
Apparently,
not
people
another-
keep thinking that. I'm like, okay.
That would be Jaden Smith, who could not play Benjamin Sisko.
Anything.
Sorry, Jaden.
Well,
But,
he got
Sorry.
bad roles sometimes too, I think.
Nepo baby.
Who was your favorite person on the stand? Because they had Cisco, they had Dax, and then they had Julian, right? Those. And the Trill. Oh, I forgot about the Trill
And
expert.
the
That guy
Trill
was.
guy also was in other episodes of Trek. He's
He comes
played
back
by
as another
Richard
Trill in the
Linebacker.
Symbiont, I think, or something, Symbiont
Yeah, the
episode.
symbiote.
Oh, he comes back again. That's crazy.
Yep.
Symbiote.
But I don't think it's the same character, right?
No, I don't think so.
He was so deadpan.
Plays
He
a
was like,
Zindi,
Yeah,
too,
he
at
is
some
a-
point.
All of the people on our planet is very bland. It's like,
Very blonde and flat.
because like, he had the same kind of stoicism as Dax was kind of giving
right,
off.
I guess
It was
that,
like
that goes to that what they were trying to do, right? Yeah.
yeah, just like okay. And then
I'm
Julian
glad they
didn't
got rid of that.
help. Like he was like trying his best to not help, but then by like, I'm so excited about science, I can tell you all these things, and like he just basically led the guy down the path to like, so
Easy,
two different brains.
The guy's kind of a good lawyer, I think. You're cross-examining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
I
What?
like
So what?
Cisco's lawyering. I thought Avery Brooks had like some good moments.
You know,
What was? Go ahead, Beck.
the Trill witness, like he sounded sedated. You know, like
He's so
he
bored.
sounded like
Like, yeah, true. We
He
live
gets
on-
space sick, so they just gave him some Dramamine or whatever way.
He even
Sick.
he even has to figure out like he even has like didn't Cisco like kind of like enlighten him to a new way of thinking about symbionts too or something like that? I forget. There was like a moment.
Oh, yeah.
There was a moment where he was like, "Oh, I've never thought of it that way." I'm like, "Oh my god, this is our Trill expert."
Great.
They don't really talk about how this is probably all settled on Trill for Trill law, but of course,
Yeah,
other people, I
has to
mean,
be.
Bajorans would have no reason to have precedent for
Yeah.
symbionts at all, and I'm sure Claystron 4 had no precedent either. So they don't really talk about that. They all talk about it's like one thing.
Evan John Rocha in our audience asks, "Who in Trek would you want to represent you in a court case?" For me, it would be
A
Captain
certain
Kirk.
person with lots of old books.
Oh, Samuel T. Cogley.
Yes.
It would be
Okay.
your
Can't beat him.
How about the rest of you
Blows
guys?
the dust and everyone gets allergies.
I would want Una to represent me.
Oh, she's Una.
But yeah, but Una from Strange New Worlds, not original Una.
Oh, okay.
Why not
Because
both?
I'm
Same character.
I'm a big fan of Rebecca Romaine. So yes,
So
represent
Una.
me.
How about you, Aaron?
I'm trying to think. Janeway, actually. I don't know. I can
Oh,
see
I
her.
like that
Good choice.
answer.
You know,
She would be
if
such a
the
good
answer wasn't what
advocate.
she wanted, she'd figure out how to make it that answer.
You would impassion your way to freedom.
Yeah.
Evan, tell us yours. Also, audience, tell us who you'd want to represent you. What about you, Fathery?
I think I would go with Data because I think he would be able to learn all the law the fastest and most efficiently.
That's true.
Yeah, not
That is
Riker.
true.
Yeah, he would be able to speed read all of Samuel T. Cogsley. But well, depends. Like where am I being tried? Like what court
That's
is
a good-
putting
yeah.
me on trial?
You're being put on trial at a starbase in like Federation. It's a
Hopefully
Federation.
it's not a Cardassian trial.
I'm not
that'd
worried
be
about it.
trouble.
I would rather I would rather live in a Federation penal colony than live my life as a free man in 2024 Earth. So I'll just go into that
I'm
with
sure
no
you don't have to worry about
representation.
food or
anything.
Hey,
Tom,
I'm just happy to be here.
Tom Paris in New Zealand.
Yeah, I'll go bust rocks in New Zealand with Tom Paris.
Or Nick Locarno.
or both of those.
Yeah.
Sure, they're both at the
I wonder if they ever were roommates. That's a
Yeah.
short trek we need animated. But
Okay, Lexus.
What about you, Braxton? Who would you pick as your advocate?
You know, I think that I would pick the lawyer from Strange New World.
Yes,
the
she's
Una
good.
episode.
yeah.
What's the name of the episode? Like
Ad
Astra.
Astra
Paraspida.
is one of the ones with a lot of Latin.
dude, I can't remember what her name is. I just remember like the feelings that I got, and she was a kick-ass lawyer. So her.
Oh, yeah.
Yatiti Badaki
Excuse
plays
me one
her. I
second.
can't remember the name of the character though. No worries. He says not Worf's grandfather.
Yeah, that guy
Not
sucked.
Colonel.
That guy sucks.
poor Colonel Worf. He
That
did suck though. He tried, but yeah, it was very good.
He did
Rachel
try.
says, I mean, apparently when you murder someone with a symbiote on Trill, they erase all records. So
The murder rate is 0 on Trill.
Didn't happen.
I
That's
wonder
how
if it
it's
would
gonna
be
stay.
low. Because what is killing the person doesn't necessarily, mean that they're gone in some
But
ways.
then, like most of the Trill don't have symbiotes.
Oh, that's true.
so-
Yeah, you're
oh,
right.
Mhm.
but the symbiote has to go to the bad cave if they do that.
The bad-
Not the nice one, like the Motel 6
no sparkly
cave.
walls.
Yeah.
The Motel 6 game.
It's got mold. The water's not changed very often, and you're like,
Jet
But yeah,
Reno's
like-
a good one.
Yeah.
Jill's saying here she would win by disarming people with snarky truth bombs. Were you gonna say, Braxton?
No, I was just gonna say that I thought it was really interesting how that when Jesse was talking about the preparation that she did to get the symbiote, like I'm just imagining that like it's like super duper competitive. Like, obviously people are willing to kill for them, you know. So I don't know, just like thought it was like super interesting, It reminds me of like some students today and some of the atmospheres that they have. Like there are such like some people are so competitive, like culturally, and in some places, like it's just not.
There's really competitive environments. They can produce some psychopaths, like it's like some industries that are like that, like I guess like the obvious ones would be like Hollywood or like politics or whatever. But like like the like the people that are just like obsessed with like their own success at all costs, like that can produce some dangerous people.
It's true.
I gotta jet, guys. So it's been fun.
See you,
All right,
Marcelo.
You want to give
Marcelo,
a
what was your rating or final thoughts for this episode?
Yeah, no. So my final thoughts for this episode was I love this episode. I love the courtroom episodes of that Star Trek does, and I'm really high on this episode because it focuses on my favorite character in Deep Space Nine. So I love it for those reasons. I will give this episode an 8 out of 9, an 8 out of 10.
Nice. So. Thanks for joining us, Marcelo. Hope you have a good afternoon.
Yep. You too, guys. See you.
Goodbye.
See you, Marcelo.
By the way, Evan Rocha in our audience is one of he took over Drunk Space Nine, which is a show that I used to do. Yeah. So, but they have not done new episodes of Drunk Space Nine. I think Drunk Space Nine has the curse of ruining people's livers and health because you have to drink to do the episodes, and to get through 7 seasons, you're probably
no
like...
synthahol there.
Yeah, exactly.
I did a whole episode. I did a whole episode of Drunk Space Nine with Sohel that I don't even remember. I know
it's
recording.
It's a hard show to do.
I don't remember doing it. Maybe I did.
So yeah, so I don't think those episodes are up online anymore, but I have the archive. If anyone wants them, I'll send you the episodes because they are pretty funny. Yeah, so Marcelo just headed out, but I was going to start wrapping up anyways because we're about at the hour mark. So I really like this episode after watching it sober for the first time in a while. It does hold up to the kind of courtroom episodes, but I like that it's a hearing, not an actual trial. So it's like a different kind of stakes, I guess, if you will. And it was more about just getting the truth out, which, happened in a very interesting way, a very dramatic way with the general's wife coming in at the end and just ruining her son's day, which was fantastic. But I loved it. I thought the drama was excellent. I love that ending where she kind of wishes Jadzia a great life. I love the moment where she found out that Curzon had died. I thought that the actress did such a good job, of like conveying it. So overall, this was a good episode to give us a little more about Trill Society, a little bit more about Dax and Curzon, and just enough to kind of entice us to want more, but also very satisfying. So I'll give this episode a 10 out of 10. So yeah, what about you, Braxton? Closing thoughts and ratings.
So like I said previously, I thought this was a really good character building episode for Jadzia. Like you, Sohail, I give this episode a 10.
Nice. Fathery.
I think the most fascinating thing is that I've never thought about this before. We're just talking about it with y'all and about the what Aaron said about like this guy who's remembered as a hero and the parallels with Gene Roddenberry. It occurs to me that like I don't know, maybe Dorothy was thinking of Majel a little bit when she was writing this complex wife character, because this was just like
right down to the affair.
Just right after the death of the Great Bert, and her as one of the women that he had an affair with. Who else had a better perspective to tell that? I'm so thankful, Sohel, for you having us gathered for this conversation today, because I never connected
That's
those
a good,
dots.
cool thing to think about. Yeah. No, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I don't have a rating, but I'll just say that if people like this courtroom episode, I think y'all will like the DS9 Season 4 courtroom episode, Rules of Engagement, even more when Worf is put on trial. I think that's and directed by LeVar Burton, who does like some really cool direction, some cool, good like experimental stuff in that episode.
I like that
cool.
Klingon lawyer, the prosecutor.
Yeah, oh yeah, and a great performance from that actor. So that's in Season 4 though, so a while to get to it, but I'm looking forward to that someday.
Ooh, I want to watch that now.
Yeah, me too. There's so many good references. But by the way, what's going on over on Text Trek? There's not a Patreon this week. It's next week, right?
Yes, but we'll be watching Those Old Scientists and Take Me Out to the Holosuite next Saturday, 1 week from today, in the Text Trek Patreon. So people can sign up over there as little as $2 a month. And on Friday nights, we've been having a lot of fun talking Star Trek Prodigy. We finally got to talk about the first 5 episodes of Season 2 last night. So with Aaron and Dave. And coming up this coming Friday, we'll be covering episodes 6 through 10, which includes some really amazing stuff I'm super excited to talk about.
Very cool.
It does seem to be getting, like, as I watch it, it's getting better. It's like there doesn't seem to be any kind of like dips
uphill
or anything.
And it's always like the first 20 were like that, and the second 20 it just keeps going. It's like, man, we got to get a Season 3. I need to. How much can this keep improving?
I know. It's very cool. Aaron, what about you?
I give it one big ass tractor beam. Grab anything.
BATV, I love that.
Probably give it like a 9 out of 10 because it's early on and there's some little bit of I don't know, just we don't know the characters yet, so I think there's a little bit of what am I trying to say? Ambiguity, but also. Julian did not need to be written like that, especially by a woman. Like that was getting to me. I'm like, okay,
yeah, but she cut her teeth right in the 50s and 60s.
No, that's true. Yeah, she probably
a lot of that
what
stuff
she saw.
I mean, like we're all guilty. We all have a lot of problematic stuff.
Oh
in
yeah,
our heads,
no, I'm sure somebody will look back on our podcast one day and like, oh my god, can you believe they said?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I've said a lot of.
I think it was good. It was a good courtroom drama. It wasn't overly dependent on like just things being connected together. You could watch it and not have to feel like you needed to have a law degree to understand it. So yeah, I liked it a lot.
Excellent. And Joel?
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I think I'd give it an 8. So it's a good episode, but I think just Jadzia's acquiescing immediately to like, well, I guess I gotta die, otherwise someone bad might happen. Which I could see her trying to desperately not to reveal any of that stuff, but maybe you should live too. But anyway,
it would have been nice to have her look like she was hiding a secret more than just like I've given up.
Yeah, to like try a defense, but then there'd be like a area that she was not talking about, and they would sort of reveal itself. I did like Odo being a private eye on Klystron 4. I think that worked pretty well, and that was
Detective Odo does work really well. Yeah, I like that.
And I know Joe requested a quote from me, so I think I should do the quote from Kira. So it's you Klystrons are allies of the Cardassians. Your knowledge of the station confirms that they must have given you the layouts, which not only compromises Bajoran security, but also annoys us. Her smile at the end sells that.
And then it just stays there. It's like,
I also love that
and then
he's
Sisko
like,
is just like, I've released her.
I've released her.
So good.
It is really good.
We can't shut the Kira off. Oh no.
Well, they can't shut the Kira off. Well, this is another fun discussion, guys.
If you should release the Kira, Bajoran Park.
Oh my gosh.
Kira versus Moosey next week on Bajoran Park.
Kira versus Moosey.
They become friends.
The Moosey would stand no chance. Well,
Someone's
thank
like
you for
walking
joining us.
around the promenade and they're like, "What's this?" And it's just like a skinless Morn just like laying there dead after Moopsies ate his bones. Like, what's going on? And then you hear
And then someone
Moopsie-
else is like, his screams were so loud.
Yeah.
You don't hear him.
We'll
I do
never
like
hear
more in this
stories again.
episode, covering in the side of Quark's where they have to go to the side of the trial. It's like Quark and Morn are over there by the stairs.
Oh, really?
It's just one shot, but it's just like
There was.
it's
I
funny.
didn't notice that. That's
It's
hilarious.
one establishing shot at the beginning of the hearing to show that the bar is like the
Yeah.
regulars. They didn't leave. They just went to the.
That's one thing we didn't talk about. The whole thing with Odo, like talking about the regulations for
Yes.
zoning,
That was
basically.
funny,
So, like,
yeah.
Business. Yeah.
yeah.
It's just
you
business.
got to move this wall out, and that means that's going to have to go down. Like,
Odo making authoritarianism look fun since 1993.
Hey, under the Cardassians, he just would have had him killed. So
you think
He's
that,
also-
that Quark would be like kind of like have admire his like sort of businessy sort of trying to get him to do what he wants.
Shrewd negotiation
Shrewd to go,
tactics.
yeah, exactly.
Well, guys, I have to wrap it up because in just 20 minutes, I'm going to be on Trek Yards with Samuel talking about the
Oh, wow.
trailer for his Prodigy film that he's made. So, yeah,
Cool.
check that out over there. But it's been super fun as usual. I look forward to next week with you guys. And live long and prosper. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.